submarines aren't real and then what part it is. The feed seems not to work as well. So it's going to make it difficult. Maybe I can adjust the title after the fact to account for the thing that's talked about. But I ended up going in down the Guantanamo Bay rabbit hole, and I wanted to give it a proper investigation. So let's see what happens this time. Let's see if people are 68. Like it's just crazy to think about it. But then again, I did make a point of pointing out yesterday how much I appreciate the trolls giving me thousands of views and making my page stronger. So maybe this is my punishment. All right, so shortly after the September 11th attacks, the U.S. declared its war on terror effort and led a multinational military operation against Taliban-ruled Afghanistan to dismantle al-Qaeda and capture its leader, Osama bin Laden. I mean, it sounds like a goofy script, doesn't it?
Yes.
It sounds like characters and just fake kind of bullshit. During the invasion on November 13, 2001, President Bush issued a military order allowing for the indefinite detention of foreign nationals without charge and preventing them from legally challenging their detention, which is really fucking strange. So like when people talk about the Constitution and shit like that, I always see this one. You know, makes me wonder too. Is it that so many people have the morning off, which is why there's so many less people here?
They're at church.
Yeah, whatever. The Constitution is like, it's strange to me because I see so many of these constitutionalists out there, these First Amendment Constitution, blah blah blah, and you know, I have to ask myself, why are First Amendment auditors allowed to have such large followings, large audiences? And you know, I think one, it puts us in that, it creates division between the police and the people, and that can't exist. We the people need the police. We need the military. We need it's actually, the power is in the hands of the women. The women need to say to their husbands, their sons, their boyfriends, their, you know, their brothers, whatever, don't put your weapon down. Do a 180. We need you to protect us. Because if they send you off, say you're in New York and they send you off to California to go round up families in California, while you're doing that, somebody from California is rounding up your family in New York. It's just what it is. So you have to ask yourself, you know, like, why do they, if somebody's telling secrets or whatever it is, why do they allow it? And it's a big deal. It's one of the big things that, you know, we need to really address. And this is how it is with everything. The you know, the narratives that we're given, the people that we see, the people that are allowed to get huge followings and all, it's that way for a reason. So you have to ask yourself, you know, like, who controls that whole narrative? It's all the same narrative. Hi, I got wigs for driving. Yeah, okay, whatever, DJ. You know, it's always the same. It's always the same. Gotta admit, I forgot what the fuck I was saying. But, oh yeah, the Constitution. The whole thing about the Constitution is just nonsense. When the system wants to override your constitutional rights, they will. They're called, what's it called? incredulous. No, they're called. There's like if you're in a hotel or whatever, and there's a shooting in the hotel, and they go looking for the shooter, right? They can come into your room. You don't have any sort of privacy. That the Fourth Amendment is
Isn't that crazy?
right. It's extenuating circumstances. That's what it is. When they consider it extenuating circumstances, they can violate all of your shit,
All of your rights.
all of your right, because you don't, because it's all just bullshit.
Well, they have to protect you from yourself.
But the whole idea of a Bill of Rights and a Constitution written by a bunch of people who supposedly, uh, had slaves and drank all the time, like they didn't trust the water, so they were always drunk, and you know, just the stupid narrative we're given about our history. We have to think those people, those slave owners, think all men are created equal and First Amendment free speech and blah, blah, all that shit. Really? Go test your free speech when you start saying shit about Jews or saying shit about Israel or whatever. See how that works out. And you see so many people wrapped up in this constitution shit, like because their parents and grandparents happen to have nasty sex here in the United States. You know, mom's leg was all up, dad was like, fuck yeah, whose pussy is that? And your mom's like, it's yours, big daddy, it's yours, big daddy. What, you don't want to think about your parents having a good sex life? Shouldn't you want your parents to have a good sex life? Your dad's all like, and your mom's like, ooh, you don't want that? But because they had sex here and you were born here, that somehow gives you more rights than somebody that was born in a different place. That is fucking stupid. Oh, he's a pothead. Oh. Gotta love it, cause weed'll make you be like this, man. And I won't even be able to have a conversation, man, because I'm just so obsessed with Doritos, man. Isn't that how that works? If you want the excuse, it's always there. There's always some excuse. Oh, this guy has long hair. Oh, this guy has a beard. Oh, this guy doesn't have a beard. It's just stupid. If I'm wrong about something, tell me what I'm wrong about. But if you just want to point out how stupid you are, I don't mind. I really do appreciate it because it makes my job a lot easier. And cue kids. And you see this narrative of stupidity flowing everywhere because they have to keep us that way. There's so many of these First Amendment guys that I think do really great work, and I love what they do, and I really appreciate what they do and all that. But at the end of the day, it's just they're doing what they're allowed to do until they're not allowed to do it, and something like Gitmo proves it, right? The president passes an order, and I should say at least 780 documented people had been through Gitmo, with only 18 of them ever having been charged. That is terrifying. And I know you'll say, well, they weren't Americans, so blah. Again, it doesn't matter. It's an example of the president at the time, changing laws, just making whatever they want to exist. Everyone like the stream. The truth shall not be hidden anymore. I agree with you. Like, share, and sub if you're watching. Please help out. Dislike the page. If you think I'm crazy, throw a dislike on there. I don't give a shit. As long as you're reacting, as long as you're alive, that's all that matters, man. If I inspire you one way or another, whether it's in a good way or a bad way, so be it. But fucking, let's have it, man. Let's hear what you have to say. Is the premise that subs aren't real? The premise is always that subs aren't real. It's all just part of the narrative. they're lying to us. But that's not what we're talking about. Clearly, if anybody wants to, they can sit here for less than a minute and they'll figure out which thing we're talking about at that time. It's really a basic form of communication. Can you imagine if things worked that way? If people just around the world, we just walked up to other people like, hey, I know you're having a conversation, but I want you to talk about this now. Like, it'd be so fucking weird. Like, oh, okay, sorry. What did you want to talk about, Bill? Well, I wanted to talk about the ceiling fans and blah, blah, blah. Is ceiling fan a new pedophile code word? Just got here. What are we talking about? You'll see. Nobody cares, says the guy who's been here day after day after day after day after day. Right? You care. Clearly. Clearly. And when it comes to the whole Constitution thing, lots of people care. It's funny how people, like, because they know that the narrative we're given is bullshit, they try to find things that fit that narrative. And then they find something like the constitutional stuff, and they go, yeah, see, it even says it here in this. That I can say whatever the fuck I want to say. Why can't I say shit? If you don't like what I'm saying, guess what? You're free not to listen or free to communicate back. No. You're free to help me understand what I'm getting wrong. You don't listen to anybody. Yep. One, I can't hear anybody. That's one thing. But two, you never say anything that matters. Three, I actually read the news and the information we're supposed to know. Do I just believe it because it says so, and whether it passed the common sense test or not? No. The common sense test is sort of the backbone of this feed, right? If you can't use common sense to look at things and talk about things, then you're at the wrong place. I love hearing grown men talk about submarines being fake for 2 weeks. Clearly. But that conversation was a while ago. You guys are the ones that keep wanting to talk about it. I find it fascinating that people are more concerned with submarines than they are with genocide, than they are with the slavery happening, than they are with the historical narrative and all that stuff. You know, if I was just a brilliant marketing man, I would call my show Subs Aren't Real just so I could see how many stupid people will fall for it. And apparently not be able to talk about anything else. That's the craziest part. The inability to actually talk about anything else is just strange. Boats are real. Absolutely, boats are real. But submarines that go underwater and swim around, hunt for Red October style, no. And there's plenty of videos to talking about that for the last couple weeks now. So if that's what you want to talk about, I really suggest you go watch those videos. Yep, there we go. Yet another person apparently watching from a submarine. So stupid. So how many of you people watching and commenting? Let's do the test here. How many of you people that are commenting think pedophiles should be killed? Oh, that's weird. I wasn't even talking to you when you raised your hand. Strange. She raised both hands, actually. That's weird. And her feet. Oh, that's nice. I like that. Let's see how many of these people actually even respond. You know? I tend to think a lot of the trolls are part of the Israeli pedophile group. And you know, the pedophilia is just part of it. It's like their reward or some shit. I don't really know.
Oh my God. So sorry. I didn't mean to scare her like that. She must have been.
I told you, you are not. Oh, look, he just retracted his stupid message. Schizophrenia. Oh, we got another person talking schizophrenia. Instead of being like, fuck yeah, pedo should die, this person says I'm a schizophrenic.
schizophrenic.
That's the only thing they ever call me. It's like that's the only mental issue that these stupid people know. They don't know any other.
Understand what schizophrenic
Clearly,
is?
they don't. I even read it to them last week. You know, I'm not looking out the windows thinking anybody's trying to get me, and I'm not responding to voices in my head.
Paranoid. I was trying to figure out where they get that one.
But paranoid about what? What am I paranoid of?
That's where they are saying
I don't think so.
That goes to paranoid schizophrenic.
I have no idea.
I get the path.
I-
It's stupid.
Thinking that submarines aren't real has nothing to do with paranoia. But this is how it usually means. Let's see. Trump 2024, stupid people, stubs are real. I've even seen a sub who built his. I've seen a dude who built his own. You are another person
Built his own
who
sub.
knows someone who built their own sub. If you want to have a conversation with people, you should just show them. I should show the trolls respect. You got it.
They show so much respect to you.
Exactly.
You should give it back.
Look, you're not listening. I've suggested a video multiple times, multiple days. You just ignore it. Right. I'm going to bring you on my video, on my feed, so you can say the nonsense that you say in the comments live. Like, if the thing that's always so strange to me is, again, stupid people, right? Me, if I'm going to go on somebody's feed and start talking, I want to say things that make that person go, hey, do you want to do a video with me? Like, you're clearly fucking, you got something going on here. Do you want to do this? Like, I'm gonna say so much that the person invites me, not I have to try to weasel my way in. And yet that never seems to be how you guys want to do it. I mean, you are on YouTube. I'm talking about all kinds. So schizophrenia or meth? Yep, that's what it is. Those are the only two options.
Oh my gosh, have you seen the videos of people on meth?
They're always talking about submarines.
You really need to do some research before you start using big words.
They're just stupid. It's just, and it's the same, fake profiles, the same, you see their profile, they have no subscribers. No, they're not, they're just, somebody is making fake profiles so they can come police the YouTube, they're mad at somebody who doesn't believe in submarines. Gotcha. You're paranoid, unicorn arena, answer to, okay, Ryan Coleman. Go watch Gazing Insurance YouTube. Yep. You're Y-O-U-R, a big troll, bro. It's hilarious. I'm a big troll because I go live and talk about things. No, that makes sense. It's not the goofball fake profiles that come here and can't actually talk about anything being said in the video. Submarine submerging. Yeah, I have. I've looked it all up. He's sniffing, voice draws, voice ladies, draws, and crush. What? That's called trolling. Yep, that's called trolling. Making videos and talking about things is called trolling. I just don't get it, man. I cannot imagine why these, and day after day, like, the only reason I address these things is for the real people that actually do come through here. Because I'm sure there are real people who will read the comments and be like, well, why doesn't he answer that? Or why doesn't he understand what Team Jorge is? Team Jorge is an Israeli black ops, black ops corporation, whatever you want to call it, that's completely off the books, but extremely well funded by Israel. And they specialize in cyber attacking, hacking, security, all that shit. They're the cyber war force. They're just one of many Israeli black ops doing this. But this is the one that got exposed. And this one group had 40,000 bots, social media bot profiles. That they can use to attack anybody they want. All right? So if you don't understand what that is, I'm trying to give you as much evidence as I can. I'm telling you, go look up Team Jorge. It's not just, there's a great Wikipedia article on it summarizing everything. But if you're stupid enough to get hung up on Wikipedia, then there's lots and lots of news articles talking about it as well. Go look it up. It's your smoking gun. It's the evidence you need to show you that Israel is manipulating social media at the very least. You know, the fact that none of the major news outlets picked the story up shows you that they're manipulating, you know, physical media as well. Whatever, I don't know what media. They control the media. They control the news. They control Hollywood, East Coast, West Coast Hollywood. They control it all. And Team Jorge is proof. Let's see. Do you know about the cicada group? Nope. Never heard of the cicada group. Maybe I should look that one up. Dude, ignoring truth. I'm trying to tell him I work on subs for a living. Says the fake profile. But he doesn't care to hear truth. It's only your opinion, or you're a fake bot and you try to tell him the truth. Okay, so is that truth right there? Was that whole comment like a debunking sort of comment? Or is that just a random profile claiming something and then bitching? Right? There's no proof being, like, anybody could say anything. Somebody could say, I could tell you guys I'm in California right now. Can you prove I'm not? Like, it's fucking silly. Yeah, no shit. This guy is pretty smart, just delusional. Yep, I'm delusional. If I'm delusional and I'm schizophrenic and I'm some druggie and I'm this and I'm that and blah, 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 how come you guys can't make better arguments? It's not like there's a comment screener or something. If you say something, I'm going to read it. It is what it is. So if you make some actual points about anything, they're going to get read. I'm a NASA scientist. There we go. This guy says, I am scientist at NASA. I am scientist at NASA. Well, I believe that. Don't worry, Ivan. He ain't on to nothing. I ain't on to nothing. Don't worry, Ivan. I ain't on to nothing. Guys, you need to smoke some weed. It sounds like. No shit, Matt. I worked on a sub also, but another guy who worked. We have multiple people within 20 minutes of my video going live. We have multiple people who not only worked on submarines, which you would think would sort of be like kind of hush-hush classified information. You wouldn't want, I know the military and whatnot doesn't want military people out bragging about what they're doing like that, but making yourself a target, whatever. But within 20 minutes of me going live, there are multiple people who worked on submarines and who are mad because I'm talking, because my show is called Submarines Aren't Real. I'm not even talking about that. They're the ones talking about it. But I'm the crazy one. It's interesting how this works. Average YouTube watcher doesn't have subscribers. Sure they don't. I own a multi-million-dollar company. Wait, you're a NASA scientist and you own a multi-million-dollar company? Wow. You sound really, really smart. And you're on my YouTube page all the time. Interesting how that works. You would think you multi-millionaire, super scientists, whatever, would have better things to do Sunday morning than, and every other day, mind you. But whatever. Why don't we have nuclear cars yet? Because we don't have nuclear. You know what? That's a fucking great question. Right? And if you think about the whole idea of nuclear subs, the idea that like the rods go in the water and then that makes the steam that turns the turbine and the blah, blah, blah. Well, then wouldn't it have to be moving at all times? Unless, because you wouldn't be able to stop it. You wouldn't be able to have the rotor turning. The submarine thing turning and then and standing still. That wouldn't work out. And then if that was the case, if you had to dip the rods into the water to make the steam and make the turbine and blah blah blah, well, it would take you quite a long time to get the thing going once it was stopped every time. I mean, the whole submarine thing is stupid. I don't even want to get into it because it's stupid. But the idea that in the 1950s we just we just decided we wanted nuclear cars, so some Jew guy who supposedly went Protestant, but some Jew guy just invented it. They were like, we need it in the 50s. In 51, they were like, we need nuclear subs. And by 52, they were like, we almost got it. And then they just made it. They just made nuclear subs, and that's just how that works. And it's just stupid. And people don't think about it. But how come they couldn't just make nuclear cars? I mean, the whole narrative is that the nuclear sub has a small nuclear plant inside the sub. So even if you had a small little nuclear box inside of a car, why wouldn't we do that? You are offending tons of people that I must be telling the truth. The only way you get offended is if I'm telling the truth and you just don't like it. If I walked up to you and said, Vortex, you have snakes for hair and octopus arms, and you're 22 feet tall, and you have I don't know, whatever. Your toenails are as long as surfboards. Unless you had a real weird toenail problem, you'd probably just look at me and laugh and be like, what the fuck, dude? Okay, dude, whatever. But if I walked up to you and I was like, I really want to help you get better because you obviously have a problem controlling how much food you eat, and I think I could help you get to a better place to where you're not as fat as you are, because I'm assuming you're fat, but let's just say it's fat, or whatever thing it is, whatever insecurity you have. Even if the person was saying it nicely and like, I want to help you, they probably wouldn't be able to get it out because you'd punch them before they could. Because you're hurt. If being fat was a good thing, then people wouldn't get hurt by it. They wouldn't get upset. Nothing anybody says on here could hurt my feelings. I'm not offended by anything anybody says. I might think you're a dumbass, but I'm not offended by it because none of you have that power over me. This is a weird world we live in where if somebody doesn't like what you're saying, you shouldn't say it. That's fucking crazy. Oh, God always wins, blah, 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 because I'm just going to skip over. Oh, wait. Look at that. We have another pedophile is here. The Mackenzie Duh pedophile. That's a pedophile. That's fucking crazy. It really sucks that they show up, but it is what it is. American safety standards are through the roof. They definitely are. Well, but see, people don't even think about it because, like, they go, oh, well, we can fly. You don't think we can fly? Flying out in the air is so much different than in the water. Every foot you go down, every 10 feet you go down, the amount of pounds of pressure being applied to the vessel drastically increases. So not only would submarines, they would have to have a system inside that adjusts the pressure inside as they go up and down to match the pressure outside. I mean, it's just stupid. Submarines would get crushed if they were deep down. I think we have stuff that can go underneath the surface of the water for sure. But do we have things that can swim around Red October style? No. Earth is flat. The Earth is not a ball flying through space. I can tell you that. I don't know. I wouldn't say flat because that that leads to too many opportunities for stupidity. Close the borders. Yep. Well, we know you're a racist white guy. It's called a pressure hull. Yep, that's what it is. 5 years clean today, celebrating with a joint. Congratulations, man. That's awesome. That's awesome. And Jesus is Jesus definitely is not real. That's just more Jew nonsense. Like absolutely 100% Jewish fairy tale nonsense designed to control you. And because you know I'm right, you'll just get mad. You won't actually tell me how I'm wrong about it. You can't. I'm not wrong. You're just going to get mad. Subs are real. I've been on them before. Sure you have. Lots of people have been on subs. Boats in the harbor, boats at the festival, whatever. Yeah. They have boats that can go underneath the water. No doubt about it. I'm sure lots of people have been on them. Proud of my anti Semitism. Get it right. Very, very proud. Because I know what words mean. I know what Semitism is. By the way, if you're watching and you agree, like, share, and sub. If you disagree, dislike, share, and sub. But Semitism, I always do this because we always get stupid people that will try to hide because they pretend like they don't, like I'm making shit up. Semitism definition into the Google machine. See, put in it, Semitism definition into the Google machine. Go to Merriam-Webster, okay? The Merriam-Webster definition. Here, we'll even turn this around so you can read it. Okay? Semitism. Merriam-Webster.com. 1A. Semitic character or qualities. 1B. A characteristic feature of a Semitic language occurring in another language. Number 2. Policy or predisposition favorable to Jews. Do you get it? Why should anything be favorable to Jews? Right? And Jews are not a race. Jews are a belief. We are talking about a belief structure. One of the worst. I mean, the worst. It is the worst, actually. Because all the other ones, like Christians are the dumbest by far, right? Because Christians, Jews believe Jews are the best. Muslims believe Muslims are the best. Christians believe Jews are the best. You know how crazy that is? Jews are literally the bad guys in the Bible. Abraham, which all three, Jewish, Judaism, Islam, and Christianity are all considered Abrahamic religions. They all come from Abraham, the father of the Jewish people. So they tell you just out in the open. It's all Jewish nonsense. But Abraham is the head bad guy in the Bible. It's not Satan like you think it is. The Jews are the bad guys, and Abraham is in charge. And so Christians believe that the bad guys in the Bible, the people who believe a completely different thing than they do, who also look down on Christians. Jews think Christians are stupid. They don't like you. They think what you believe is stupid. They think you're here to service them. You are cattle. You are nothing. You're no different than a table, a chair, a sheep, a dog, a cat, whatever. If you're not Jewish, you're just lumped into the same category. They are the bad guys in the Bible. They think you're shit. And you call them your Christian God's chosen people. And you have no idea what the fuck, what are you even talking about? I don't need to look up all that anti-Semitic, Semitic is different. See, this is where stupid people come in. Semitic is all of the people of the region, white, black, brown, whatever. If you are from that area, if you are from Palestine or Iran or Syria or Lebanon or any of these places Israel attacking, if you are from Northern Africa, there are lots of Northern African uh, countries that all fall under the Semitic bandwagon. So saying anti-Semitic is calling somebody a racist. And I'm not at all a racist. I am very proud of my anti-Semitism. I am anti-showing Jews favor, anti-Jewish supremacy. Literally. That's why they call it that. Why do you think every time news is talking about something, they'll say, that's anti-Semitism. What you're seeing is anti-Semitism. They don't say that's anti-Jewish because they don't care. They don't care if you're for or against Judaism. They don't care about that. They don't want you. Like how Christians want to save your soul, so they want you to be a Christian, or Muslims want to save your soul, so they want you to be Muslims. Christians want you to stay the fuck out of their shit. They don't like you. You know, that's not how their religion is. That's why out of the three, the Jews are the worst, because they want you to be in your position of servitude. Like, this is all right there in front of you. And they call it anti-Semitism because they're telling you the truth. Whenever they say that somebody speaking out against Israel is anti-Semitism, it's true. It's somebody not showing them the favor, the supremacy that they demand, which is that we just keep our mouths shut. You never hear Jews actually denying or debating anyone. The only thing you ever hear Jews say is that we aren't allowed to say what we say. That's all that you're not supposed to say that. You're not allowed to say that. That's anti-Semitism. And they hope that that works, because it does. It's just like how a conspiracy theorist was created to stop people from talking about the JFK assassination. Anti-Semitism was originally like a rallying cry. The original coining of it in the 1880s was exactly that, opposed to Jewish supremacy. It was corrupted by the Jews and taken over. And then the funniest thing is, for 140 years, it was spelled ANTI capital hyphen capital SEMITISM. They were telling you in the word that it's two things. It's anti hyphen Semitism. They told you that forever. In 2021, and I actually take credit for this because I don't know anybody else saying these things, so they had to see my shit. They had to hear my songs. www.the-bilderberg-group.com. The link will be in the description after the fact. It's a free download. You can just put 0 in the payment box and you get the free download. But we've made songs about Semitism multiple times and what it really means. And I think because I've been encouraging people for over a decade to look up the definition of Semitism, in 2021, they passed legislation or whatever you have to do to get a word officially changed. I mean, I don't even know, like I've never heard about this in any other context before where some sort of legislation was done to officially change the spelling of a word that already existed for 140 fucking years. But they changed it to ANTISEMITISM, all one word, all lowercase. And their stated reason was because they didn't want people anti-Semitism opposed something called Semitism. Didn't want us knowing that Semitism was a thing, so they changed the spelling of it. Do you know how diabolical and crazy that is? And they you know, they tell you why they did it. And think about that. Now somebody has to go through and correct all of the previous documentation, you know, everywhere, all the books, all the everything where it's spelled with the hyphen. Now all of that has to be changed. That's all worth it to protect what? What would warrant that sort of thing? They love to claim that they're the most persecuted people in the world. That they experience the most persecution here in the United States because for some reason we just keep, you know, drawing swastikas on things, and that's just, oh man, they just can't. even though it keeps getting shown that Jews are doing it. You know, the last time like it made like national headlines, there was a girl in New York who was claiming that somebody was spray painting swastikas or writing swastikas and on her door, on her dorm door or something like that, or on her dorm hallway or something. And they set up a camera and come to find out it was actually her. It was the Jewish girl. Did she get in trouble? Did she pay the consequences? Well, good luck. Who the fuck knows? But you guys have to ask yourself, like think about it. Why does anything they think, thing they want, why does it matter? They make up 0.183% of the world's population, between 2 and 4% of the US population. Which is bullshit, but like here in Detroit, for Hanukkah, they set up a 3-story tall menorah in the middle of downtown Detroit. This giant steel metal fucking menorah that they set up and they light it up for Hanukkah. You know what you always hear? You always hear that Jews are the most persecuted people, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. And yet you never hear why. Nobody ever asks why, and nobody ever talks about why. Autonomous bioengineering replicating species in the ocean, been here for thousands of years. Al Jazeera is more Jew propaganda. They have to have a counterpart. So they absolutely control the counterpart, but they have to have. See, what you keep seeing, how you know what you're seeing is manipulated, is when people are talking about Zionism or Israel. It's not about Zionism or Israel. It's about the Jews. And unless we understand that and we acknowledge that for what it is, we're still going to be fucking victimized by it. By the way, this is for all of you that didn't see the other thing.
The Jews, Mr. Jones, have inflicted tremendous harm upon the United States.
Let me ask you a question. From your perspective, should the Jews be gotten rid of?
Yes, they should. In every country.
All right, I'm going to stop you right there. I am Jewish.
There you go. For all of you that question, for all of you that don't get it, they control all of the sides. The Philadelphia experiment, the only thing we know about the Philadelphia experiment is what they want us to know. You have to remember that. Whenever it comes to anything like that, especially when it comes to government shit, we only know the narrative they want us to know. They allow us to know. You want to believe in submarines. Absolutely. Everybody does, because you've been programmed to want it. Which is weird, because what you're basically saying is you want to believe in your own control. You want to believe that no matter where we go, land, sea, air, underwater, whatever, they can get us. And that's what the narrative is telling you. Everybody only believes what they want to believe, right? They only believe what they want to believe. Anybody that says they believe in Jesus, they literally want to. They have no reason to. There's no fucking proof, no reason even a little bit to believe in that shit. And if you say that you hear voices in your head, well, then you should probably go talk to someone, because that's kind of scary. You probably realize that the world is fucked up without his meds. Yeah. Yeah, well, I don't know what meds I'm supposed to take, but I'm sure not taking shit. Would never do it. Obviously, it's a fucking bullshit Jew control scheme. The thing is, one of their best weapons is the medication industry. Why do you think so many of these fake Jew profiles keep pushing that narrative? Meds, schizophrenia, meds. They what they've done is convinced everybody that they're depressed. Oh, you're depressed. So here, let me give you this. This might make you want to kill yourself and make things worse. And if it does, then we'll give you this. And if those two things combined don't work, then we'll pull you off of those two things and we'll put you on this thing. And each one of those things takes 3 to 6 weeks till your body regulates to it. And you definitely shouldn't quit it cold turkey. But here, we're just switching you around. Don't worry about it. And then if it makes you feel like crazy and stuff, we'll fix it. And the problem is, you're not depressed. You're angry. You know you've been lied to. They've been telling you for all these years that God is this and God answers your prayers and blah, blah, blah. And you've gotten to the age where you realize that those things that you might have prayed about that came true, well, that's just fucking chance, luck, whatever. Because you've prayed about way more shit that didn't come true, especially way more important shit. You realize that during COVID, the church shut its doors to everybody. You're pissed. You're starting to realize it's all a lie. You're starting to see that, like, wait, you're telling me I got to pick between the left. You're going to slap me in the face with the left hand or the right hand, and I'm supposed to pick one of them? Oh, wait, there's that third party slap. It's nothing. No, don't worry about it. Right? Like you're looking at the world and people have been lying to me about every fucking thing. And then trying to pump me full of medications and vaccines and, everything they can. And fucking everybody I know that does go through that, they have a horrible experience. But again, when you're angry and you don't have an outlet for it, and you're starting to say, look, I'm really angry. My Lord, my Jesus, like this Israel stuff. What the fuck? This whole shit is just insane. How is God letting this blah 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 blah? Why is this Christians are being killed? Little kids, women, children. What's going on? I'm angry about this. And they go, no, you're depressed. Hey, you got to figure out what's wrong with this world. You got to fix things. We got to figure out what the problem is and fix it. And you go, I see the problem. It's the Jews. And they go, oh yeah, you can't say that. And you go, yeah, but it's the problem. And no, you can't say that. You have to figure out what the problem is, but you can't say it's that. And you go, well, what am I supposed to say? And they go, I don't know. You got to figure it out. You have to. It's really important that you figure this out. And you go, yeah, but I did. It's the Jews. They control Hollywood. They control the money. They control the government. They control the media. They control all of it. They're literally parading a genocide right now. This has never happened in the history of the world where a genocide like this has just been bragged about so openly and honestly. You can't say it's genocide, but still. Like, that's the problem. No, don't talk about it. So you go, well, okay, so it's the devil. Can I say it's the devil? Yeah, absolutely. If you say it's the devil, that's acceptable. Fuck yeah, that's cool. What if I say it's like it's Joe Biden's fault? Yeah. Go ahead and say it's Joe Biden's fault. Okay, well, what if I say it's Trump's fault? No, that's fine too. That's why we put him there. It's Trump too. Yeah, go ahead. And you're like, what the fuck? What do you mean? I can say all these other things, but I can't say it's the Jew. No. Don't say that. If you say that, you're a bad person. So, see, you're depressed because of Trump and Biden and all that. Here, take this pill. Here, take this pill. Don't take any oils. Don't use any natural remedies. Don't talk. Definitely don't talk about things. Like, the only people you should talk to are people who charge you, whose livelihood depends on you coming back to them. That's who you should be listening to. Or you can also listen to virgins in the church who have never paid bills, never had to work for a living, and have never had a relationship. You should listen to them about marital, family, financial advice. That's what you should listen to. Don't talk about it with like-minded people, because that's a conspiracy theory. You know, I see the Palestine flag, and it's like, I'm not even a free Palestine guy. I know that might bother people, but to me, it's not about free Palestine. It's about end Israel. Because, Palestine is yesterday's story. Lebanon is today. Who knows who tomorrow is? Probably Iran, something. But it's not about free Palestine at all. What's free Palestine mean? What are we supposed to go back to free Palestine? Definitely not 67 Palestine or pre 67 Palestine, because that's still after the Nakba. But definitely not prior to 48 Palestine, and definitely, not the Nakba. Because prior to 48, you have British Mandate Palestine, which was put in place by the Jews in during World War One, or with the help of World War One, so that the Palestinians would be completely dependent on the British. And when the British pulled out, then the Israelis somehow, I don't know how Israel has an army when it doesn't, a military when it doesn't exist yet, but when the British pull out, then the Palestinians are sitting ducks, and that's exactly what happened. So when are we talking about free Palestine? Are we talking about some other monarch or patriarch, some royal family bullshit that controls with an iron fist, some Wahhabi Islam like Saudi Arabia? You know the truth is so much more fascinating than any of the conspiracies out there. Like all you dumb Trumpanzees and whatnot. Everybody, the Abraham Accords, Trump's legacy, Trump's main, like his number one thing is the Abraham Accords. The thing he's most known for and most revered for is the Abraham Accords. And the Abraham Accords are a bunch of normalization deals, which, good luck finding that. Look up normalization deal and see what you can find. But normalization deals between Israel and Middle Eastern countries, between Israel and the other Semitic countries over there, basically so saying that Israel is that Israelis are allowed to travel to and from whatever countries they are, Qatar, Bahrain, whatever, anyone who signs these deals, and that country, if Israel were to say, I don't know, attack the Palestinians and kill 46,000 of them, or more like 200,000 of them, then this country will stand by and do nothing. But because they do that, the United States is going to step in and handsomely reward them with American tax dollars and American stuff. Like Bahrain, I don't know the exact number, but let's say that Bahrain got 20 F-35 fighter jets to sign a normalization deal. Well, there's something called a memorandum of understanding. There are a couple of these memorandums of understanding, but I've only heard about them with Israel. They are sort of like official legislation that just, it's like forever legislation. It's bipartisan. It just goes from one government to the next, and it doesn't get voted on or anything. But the memorandum of understanding says that Israel is to have the strongest military in the region. And anytime that balance, that dynamic is offset, it's up to the United States to give Israel what it wants to be able to have that majority again. So, if we give Bahrain 20 fighter jets, F-35 fighter jets, to allow Israel travel, and the Ben Gurion Canal, and they'll turn a blind eye to maybe if, I don't know, a genocide happens. Because we give them those 20 fighter jets, we have to give Israel 25 F-35 fighter jets so they then have the majority again. And these normalization deals were signed all over the Middle East, which is why you don't see anybody coming to the rescue of the Palestinians. It's kind of like, wait, what the fuck? Why is nobody stepping up? And Israel's been saying forever that they have hundreds of thousands of rockets pointed at them at all time, and everybody hates them, and blah blah blah. Well, this is a great excuse for anybody to attack Israel because they could say they were helping the Palestinians, and yet nobody does. And Trump, through the Abraham Accords, managed to get all these countries to sign it. Well, Biden picked up where Trump left off. So you're concerned with what they differ on. I'm concerned with what they agree on. And so Biden, Trump couldn't get Saudi Arabia. They wouldn't sign it because they said the Israeli treatment of Palestinians is unacceptable. But if you look at most of 2023, 2022 as well, Biden, Anthony Blinken, Jake Sullivan, multiple members of the United States government, but it's Biden especially, was in Israel multiple times trying to negotiate a normalization deal between the two countries most guilty of war crimes in the world. Saudi Arabia is the scary Islam. Wahhabi Islam is the one where they cut up little girls, you know, they cut up their genitalia, where they kill gay people, where our goofy media pretends like, oh, look at how progressive Saudi Arabia is getting. They're letting women drive during the day as long as a man is in the car. Look how far they're coming. And oh yeah, look how progressive they are. These countries, Saudi Arabia is so guilty of international war crimes, it's unreal. Israel, super guilty as well. And yet, Biden is taking over the middleman job from Trump to try to negotiate a deal between these countries. Biden was offering, so I don't know how many of you remember the Adnan Khashoggi story. Adnan Khashoggi, it goes to show you how powerful it is. Adnan Khashoggi was actually a Jewish guy, but he was a thorn in the side, and he made his bones exposing the Saudi Arabian corruption, the royal family and all that. He wrote about them a lot, and they hated him. And if you remember, Adnan Khashoggi, again, he was a reporter. He was the guy that there was a security camera showing him walking into the Turkey consulate, and then a guy that looked like him, dressed in his clothes, was seen walking out hours later or whatever. But he was never seen or heard from again. And at first, like, everybody was like, yeah, the Saudis did it. And it was all this big denial. And then it finally came out that the Saudis, yep, they did actually kidnap him. They cut him into pieces and put each piece in a barrel of acid and buried the barrels in the desert somewhere. And this was all by the order of the Saudi Arabian prince, whatever his name is. Like, it came from the highest levels. And everybody was wondering why Trump wasn't going to do anything about it. Funny thing is, there was a day, if you guys remember, a couple years ago, where YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram all went down for a couple of hours. Nobody understood why. It was because the Khashoggi video actually made it onto the web, and people were in the middle of watching it. Him getting killed made it to the web. So this video was going around, and they had to scrub it. So that's why they shut the platforms down. Again, it shows you they can do what they want. But Trump refused to call the Saudi prince out or do anything about it, actually, because he had worked out a $2.3 billion weapons deal with the Saudis, where they were going to buy $2.3 billion worth of weapons from us. And he didn't want to screw that up with any sort of international condemnation of this reporter being killed. Well, when Biden took over, supposedly, that money had been given, but the weapons hadn't yet. And Biden froze the money and refused to send the weapons. So part of the normalization deal was then he was going to unfreeze that money and then give them the weapons they wanted. Because they refused to sign it supposedly because of the Palestinians. So, and they said, look, we don't need anything from you guys. What the fuck are you talking about? We're the Saudis. We're the richest one of these super rich nations around here, or richest one of these super rich countries around here. And so the U.S. Biden ends up offering a civilian nuclear program. We're going to give the Saudis nuclear capabilities, apparently. A civilian one, though. They wouldn't be able to figure out how to make it weaponized. And for some reason, they haven't figured out how to do nuclear power already. If it's real, how other countries haven't figured it out yet is sort of a joke. But we're going to give them a civilian nuclear program. We're going to unfreeze that money. We're going to guarantee them this, that, and the other. We're going to block that. There was a lot of other things involved. And those gracious, those stand-up Saudis who still said no because of the Palestinians are still absent in the fight. Where are the Saudi Arabians in this fight? Not a fight. Fight makes it sound like it's sort of equal. In this massacre, in this genocide. Where the fuck are the Saudis? They supposedly hate the Israelis. Look at all these dumb comments. Like, this is such a big boy table conversation. And to see all these dumbass, like, they're not capable. They don't know. And I might as well be speaking Chinese. They have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about. They barely heard of the Abraham Accords, but they have no idea what the fuck that is. This is just, it's so interesting because you would think, if I'm wrong, why don't people just tell me when I'm wrong? That would be so much easier and so much like more effective. Like if you could make me look like a dumbass because I'm wrong, then I have nothing else to say. Once you show that I'm wrong, then I'm going to sit here and what? Keep saying the same thing even though it's wrong? No. You could easily shut me down. They aren't capable of reality, the facts you say. Exactly. No joke, enriched uranium and centrifuges are crucial. He's right. He's a solid knowledge base. What do we know? We know nothing. We know what they want us to know. The only reason I know all this shit is because I literally read the Israeli news. I used to read the Israeli news every day. I would put Israel into the Google machine and then click news and just see what story came up. One story that came up that nobody's talking about is how it's either early 2022. I think, no, it has to be 2023 because I'm pretty sure Netanyahu was involved. But the Israelis bought 42,000, quote, supervised laborers or slaves from Delhi, from India. They bought them. 38,000 were to be earmarked for construction jobs, while the other 4,000 were earmarked for elderly care. Why? Because the Jews don't like taking care of their own old people because they suck, and they're not going to do the construction jobs. Those two jobs are what the Palestinians were doing, were forced to do. So this is how back in June or so of 2023, I started saying that if October 7th didn't happen by December of that year, I would quit doing the whole truther thing. I would shut the fuck up and you'd never see me again. I said maybe February at the latest, but I'm pretty sure that there's going to be one of these genocide things is going to happen by December of 2023. And this was one of the pieces of evidence, because again, this is just one of those stories that I happened to read one day, wasn't talked about ever again. But they said that they earmarked these, they bought these for, and I'm thinking, well, it's not like Israel has this abundance of jobs. So if they're bringing 42,000 people in, and it's important too, because you got to think like when the Jews are being their horrible selves to the Palestinians, they're basically doing it to themselves. They look the same. Those Israelis, no, those Israeli Jews and the Palestinians, they're basically the same thing. So it's a little more difficult. But when the slave population is easily identifiable because they're now Indian, imagine how much different that's going to be, right? But I just thought, like, I know Israel is building all these settlements and all this shit. I know prior to the unprovoked invasion of Russia and Ukraine, that for 3 weeks prior, Israel was running a 747 or whatever the biggest fucking plane is. They were running 3 of them nonstop from Kiev to Israel, bringing as many Jews as they could into Israel, and then giving them one of those settlement plots, which is basically a fucking mansion compound. And you have to ask, like, who is building all of this? Who is all this for? They've been building thousands of different settlement homes. You've been hearing these stories pop up. 35,000 or 3,500 new homes approved. 10,000 new homes approved, settlement homes. Like, where are they? What hell? Who are they trying to fill these spots? Well, that's why you haven't heard about Israel talking about a population crisis or anything like that, because they had all these homes already there for them. It's also why Israel's day-to-day hasn't been disturbed at all, because all of those jobs that the Palestinians did, the 42,000 or so, well, they say it's around 46,000, and the real number is probably like 200,000. But it just happens to work out that the Israelis bought 42,000 new slaves and lost 42,000 plus old slaves. Isn't that an interesting coincidence? I love when stupid, desperate people say things that are easy to debunk, like my 2-story basement. Like, you guys, I don't even have to read the comments to know that it's just a bunch of stupid shit. Nobody is debunking anything I have to say. And I encourage you guys to like, share, and sub, because this video that was at 100 viewers is now at 11 viewers. Now that we have 8 likes, now the views are way down. Does that make sense? Is that how that works? Somebody is talking about something that has people talking so much that 100 people are watching, and then they continue talking about it, and everybody just goes, you know what, forget it, I'm out of here. How does that make sense? I keep trying to find anybody that actually knows anything, because it's difficult, and it's irritating to keep saying these things and then having to deal with the stupid fucking clown nonsense I get. But it's like, where are the Jews? How come there's no Jews that are proud enough of what they're doing and what they believe in to come in here and accept the challenge to have a conversation? You tell me what I'm fucking wrong about. That's all it ever is. Perfect example of being silenced. Keep speaking the truth. I'm trying, dude. I'm trying. I'm asking you guys to take 2 seconds and share the link on Facebook. You might not realize it, but there are people you know. If you're in a truther community at all, there are people you know who are wondering where the fuck I've been because they don't see me anymore. They're gonna go, holy shit, I used to watch that guy a long time ago. What the fuck? I thought he disappeared. And if it's not me being silenced, what the fuck is it? Make it make sense. The more likes I get, the less viewers I have. What social media platform do you know that works that way? Anybody. Anybody who thinks they can make me look stupid and explain it. Like, it's the strangest thing. Suddenly all the troll comments, they're just, what are they run out of steam. You know, if I don't acknowledge them, they run away. But what am I going to keep saying? The same dumb, pointing out the same facts over and over again. Why don't they just address what I'm saying? It just seems weird. Makes sense to you that I would have more likes than viewers? Mm-hmm. And it's not even like I'm talking about some, you know, niche thing or some secret thing that nobody. I'm talking about the number one trending story in the world. The Jews, Israel, anti-Semitism, yada yada yada. When was the last time you ever saw a person of color like me? Not a Farrakhan person, but just a person like me, anybody actually, talking about this in this way. I don't have blind allegiances to Christianity or Islam. The Jews are bad because blah, blah, blah. No, Jesus is the way. Like, I'm not stupid like that. I'm willing to be wrong. I was wrong about the Jews. If you would have asked me, I don't know, 10 years ago maybe, if it's all just a big Jewish conspiracy, I don't know if I might, maybe 10, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, I would have been like, no, dude, you can't say that. You can't generalize a whole people like that. I know there's this and that, but you can't. I would have said that shit. I wonder, did my comments get shut off? Because that seems to be happening a lot too lately. Right on the hour mark. Somebody just come in. Let me know the comments are still working. Like, if you don't think like this kind of shit, I mean, it's scary. It's fucking scary. You know, I literally have nothing to gain by this. That's the crazy part. The only way that I benefit from this is in the extreme long run, where we're all working together to make a better life for everybody. Until then, like, this is nothing but like negative. I mean, again, apparently they shut the comments off. Who keeps doing that? How do they keep doing that? Can anybody explain that? Can anybody make that one make sense? I mean, maybe I'm wrong, and in the comments, I'm still waiting for somebody to come in and oblige my request to be called stupid, but I don't know. The 420 grooming. Oh, there we go. Cool. There we go. That or you're ignoring my question just came in. Yep. That might, at least I know it works though. Because they were shut off. I mean, it's happened. Explain what? Explain my comments being shut off? What part am I supposed to explain there, Joseph Cosmo? JC. Oh shit. I'm never gonna back down from that sort of inquiry. You want me to explain something? Please, just that dudes are not real. Did it change it? Was it supposed to say subs? I suggest you go watch the first dubs. Ugh. You know, the thing about subs is, at the end of the day, it's 2024, and I can go on YouTube and I can see all sorts of videos of people riding in boats. You know, the submarine is going. They're sitting on the top part on the conning tower, and they're riding around in the ocean somewhere. And maybe they got the flag out or whatever. Most of the boat is underwater, but the conning tower is out, and most of the boat is only under a little bit of water. I can see lots of videos of inside the submarine, and when inside the submarine, the people inside never seem to be affected by the fact that they're in a vehicle. It doesn't matter what the vehicle is or the medium the vehicle is traveling through. When it moves, you're going to feel it. You're going to know. You know, if the thing even moves a little bit, you're going to, you know, even if you're standing there, you're going to sway and stuff, you know. Simple. Yeah. In all of these videos, these guys are crawling through ladders and they're drawing on schematics and they're looking through the periscope. And you think if they're looking through the periscope, I mean they're probably just below the surface, so he's not like trying to keep his eyes there or anything. They're seemingly completely unaffected by movement. Lots of videos showing that. There's a video that supposedly shows the submarine breaking through some ice. Starts at about 80 feet down, ascends at about 10 feet per second, and crashes through what's said to be about 4 or 5 foot thick ice with the conning tower. Of course, the people on the inside literally don't move even a little bit, not even a little jerk, nothing from smashing through the ice. I can also see lots of videos of subs supposedly crashing through the ice from the top, you know, from the ice perspective. But every single one of those, the conning tower is already sticking out. And I'm at a flat sort of view, so I can't really tell exactly what I'm looking at. But the conning tower is always already through the ice. It never shows it just smashing through. How they breathe underwater just makes no sense. I mean, whether it's the oxygen candles that are a last-ditch effort that don't really work that well, but in an emergency situation you use them, that doesn't make any sense. Compressed air, well, that's going to run out after so long. And even still, the logistics of having pressurized air tanks inside of a giant pressurized air tank that can go up and down in the water it's just stupid. The whole ballast tanks and all that shit, it's stupid. When I look at videos of subs descending, the main video shows, it's called submarine goes down like a whale or something like that. And you think it's going to be this whole video about submarines when in fact it's only like 4 minutes of the 15 are about subs. But it shows this submarine supposedly descending, and as it's doing it, it's spitting water up. These huge plumes of water. You know, essentially, if you were hiding somewhere, you'd be giving away your position immediately. But this video, it had like 15 cuts in it because the sub didn't just go down and then go away. It just kept going down a little bit, and then it would come up, and then it'd go down, like, and then it would cut away, and it'd come back, and it'd be a little bit further down, and it'd cut away, and it'd come back, and it'd be a little bit further. It was stupid. There should be so many videos that exist that show, submarines coming up, this, that, and the other. The other thing that you see is, again, submarines coming up. So the only two videos that I could see showed a thing like a water, and then it looked like if you hold something underwater and you let it go and it just pops up, and then it pops up and it goes down and it like bounces a little bit. That's the only thing. That's what happens with the subs, the two videos that exist. There's nothing, and then suddenly the submarine pops up and it bounces a little bit, and then it's there. And that's just stupid. Why wouldn't it come up slowly, and why wouldn't that exist? Every submarine video you see, at least the top part will still be sticking out. And if it does disappear because it's far away or whatever, I mean, you don't know exactly how deep that thing's going. That thing could be just underneath the surface. You're not going to find a single video, just like how you'll never find a video of a camera on the top of a rocket ship pointing out into space so you can see it going from blue to black suddenly. Anytime you see a camera, it's always pointing down. Even the one rocket that supposedly hit the dome and then got, that famous footage at this point. You'll never see a video of a camera on the front or just outside the submarine showing what it looks like as the submarine goes through the water. For some reason, that video must be top secret. You can show me the inside of the sub, the inner workings, everything like that. But a video of the submarine actually swimming through the water? Nope. The only submarines underwater videos I saw, one was supposedly some scuba divers who saw a submarine pass by underneath them, and it looks so fake and goofy. But that's the video. The other video is clearly a model in a tank. You can literally see the reflection of the sub on the top of the water, like from this stationary camera that shows the submarine go out and then come back and then come back, and there's clearly a model. But again, this is a submarine that's only a few feet below the water in what's probably, if it was legitimate, it would be like 20-foot deep water, but it's clearly not. It's not real water. It's just stupid. Stupid shit. Who sank the Lusitania? You know. I know. We don't completely rely on the narrative that we're given in that regard. No. Whatever we're told, it's the truth. It's fucking stupid. Research submersibles take so much video. Yep. I know. I do think they have weird little round bubble type things that can go underwater and look around on coral reefs and shit like that. Yeah. Do we have big, long, nuclear powered submarines that can swim around, hunt for Red October style? No. And the thing is, like, this is, again, I keep talking to what I know are probably bots, but I'm saying it anyway because I'm sure some people have the same questions. If I'm wrong, then the video evidence should be super easy to find. It's just that simple. You know, if I'm wrong, there should be all sorts of evidence to show me that I'm. But it just doesn't exist like you assume because you're arrogant. You know, it's like how Christians assume there's more evidence than there actually is. There's no evidence for your nonsense. You just believe it because you're told to. Why not? Why is it so important to scale that technology up? Why is it so important to scale it? I don't understand. Why is it important to lie to us? If they lie to us, if they give us the answer before we ask the question, then they control all aspects of it. If we think that they control the land, the sea, the air, deep sea, whatever it is, then we don't even ask. We just assume. When they tell us that, oh, the earth is made of crusts and jello molds, it's got different layers, and you know, we can only drill 8 miles down, but we know what it looks like all the way through, and you believe the shit. The more scientific, the more distraction they give you, the more you believe the narrative, whatever it may be. You're literally assuming they build those vehicles and then what? Disassemble them. I don't understand what you're saying. Like like do you think that they don't disassemble things? Like I don't understand. Yes, they build all kinds of shit. They create all kinds of crazy sets and vehicles to make movies all the time. Imagine what it would be like if it was unlimited budget and the movie was like real life important. Imagine how much they would put into it. Imagine how real it would look. Submarines at naval yards, and they just never use them. So in 1959, the government, military, working with Disney, put out a series of videos called Eyes to Space. Eyes to the Skies, Eyes to Space. You know, there was a few of them. And one of those parts was about how in the very near future, they would be using aerosols from planes and basically little mini HARP installations or all over the coastline, and they would be able to dissipate hurricanes and control the weather. Now, you either think A, they never figured it out. They made this video. They did all the effort to make the propaganda video and make it seem like we were right there. But they never figured it out. B, they figured it out and then they just put it on the shelf because they were like, oh, no, we don't want to do that. Or C, they figured it out and they use it and they just don't tell us about it. Of course, they have all kinds of shit that we don't know they have. And they have all kinds of, and we think they have shit that they don't actually have. It's all a bunch of lies. And to trust any of it without actually seeing it for yourself is foolish. Yeah, they also thought we were going to have flying cars. You can look. There's a PBS. I don't even. The Universe. It was a really high budget series put on TV in like 2007 or in the late 2000s. And it was all like official the universe, PBS, whatever it was. I just saw it a couple months ago. And one of the things they said was that by 2017, we would have been back to the moon and we will probably have space hotels and shit by then. Uh atmospheric hotels where people could stay in a little like a Jetsons type of thing. And if you go and look, they've been literally pushing that. Oh, we're just like 10 years away from. In 1997, Richard Branson all but guaranteed that he would have commercial flights to space, to the moon. I don't know if it was to the moon, but at least to space within 10 years. In the year 2000, Richard Branson, the ultimate rebel, the super bad guy, the guy who called his company Virgin for some weird fucking reason, but he was considered the bad guy. Suddenly, he's knighted. He's knighted. You have to ask yourself, what do you give a guy that could buy himself anything he wants, that is already super duper powerful? What do you bribe a guy like that with? And my answer is immortality. The thing about a guy like that is he's an ego guy. I mean, he has to be driven to be who he is. It's ego. You could definitely play into his ego. So if you say I'm going to give you immortality, Richard, Brad Pitt, in 100 years, everybody's going to forget about Brad Pitt. There are, if you go look, there are tobacco cards, like baseball cards, but tobacco cards made for all sorts of movie stars from the 20s, 30s, and shit like that. And you won't recognize all but maybe 3 of them. These were huge stars. There are actually cards from the early 1900s, the Ogden's cards. They're from the early 1900s, 1800s, and shit. You don't recognize any of those people because they've been forgotten. However, if you knight someone, it won't matter if it's 10,000 years from now. In the annals of history, somebody that's been knighted will always be remembered. You will always be able to go look at the catalog of knights and say, yep, this guy was a knight. Whether he's an everyday name or not is whatever. But in 100 years and 500 years, whatever, there will always be a documented Richard Branson was a knight. One of the first knights of the 2000s. What were those knights doing? A knight is you're providing a service to the queen. You're fighting the dragons of the day. So again, what did Richard Branson figure out by 2000? That the system was like, we'll knight you if you just shut the fuck up. Because in 2007, I believe, when he was interviewed and asked about, hey, you said that we'd have commercial flights by now, his response was, well, space is hard. And during that time, NASA had laid off a bunch of people, so he had all the best engineers. He had all the money you could possibly have just funneled into this project. And yet, still, in 2019, when they did a low Earth orbit flight, that made the news like it was a big deal. Do you remember? They were bragging about how Virgin Mobile has done a low Earth orbit flight. And it's like, yes, so I thought that was old fucking news. What the fuck are you talking about? Do you believe in aliens? No. I don't believe in aliens like weird creatures from other planets and shit. I think aliens are the things outside the dome. And they come down. I think you have 3 tiers. You have the directors, the producers, or the famous people from outside that want to come down and meet with the people down here in charge, the Donald Trumps or whatever. And they don't give a fuck. They fly their alien ships right out in the open and people film it and you see it. Everybody's like, holy shit, what the fuck? It also makes the TV show even better. Because we're all like, oh, look at that. So you see those. The second tier are the people that are the ships where they're repairing things, the maintenance workers, repairing the dome, repairing the plumbing, whatever needs to be repaired, they're doing that. It's also the scientists, those that are those aliens, those that are like doing experiments on us so they have it better, whether it's, germ experiments, which I don't believe in germs, but whether it's like sicknesses or whatever, they do experiments on us. Clearly people have talked about being experimented on for decades, so something's happening. And then I think every once in a while you'll get those stories of like the ship that gets chased by fighter jets or some shit. And I think maybe that's like some sort of, group trying to come in and tell us what's going on or whatever, but they get shut down. Maybe that's even what crop circles are. I don't really fucking know. I'm at this point, I'm just speculating because I'm not allowed to have access to anything like that. I don't know. I know the idea that we are just a reality show, a reality TV show for a much more advanced version of us makes a shitload more sense than Jesus and or the Big Bang. Right, it was a big deal because it was a private company that did it. Who was? I don't know what we're talking about. I was about 11 years old. This was not sleep paralysis. I could not move it on the back of my skull. Don't worry, we will not hurt you. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know. I have multiple stories. I have a story of my I remember it. My bed used to be right by my window. We lived on the second floor. And my bed used to be right by my window and I never had an issue with it. And then suddenly one day I was terrified because I still can see the image of the light, the like greenish light coming through the window and the alien sort of figure rising up in the window, and then my vision, my memory, my whatever it is stops. But I knew from that point on I was terrified to sleep next to the window. I don't know if that was television or not. Who knows? I know that at one point my mom, I couldn't walk. Suddenly I couldn't walk. And I had, my knee was fucked up. Something was wrong with my knee. And I was limping real bad. And my mom, we finally, she was like, let me see it. And we looked and there was this little mark, this little bump. And she got the tweezers and she pulled out a piece of glass. It looked like a piece of glass. It was like a weird shard. It was, like the width of a toothpick, and it was like that big. And it was in my knee. So I don't know. Maybe I just had a piece of glass in my knee. Who knows? These kinds of stories are these weird speculation stories that I can't, you know, I don't know. I do know that one time in the 2000s, early 2000s, I was up in Northern California and I was really drunk and high and all that shit. And I was staying up in the mountains in Willits. And I was at my buddy's house and his whole family was there. He was the guy that had the mountain and did his thing on that mountain. Um, but like his mom was there and his brother was there. They were having like a family reunion that weekend. So and the dude had like 6 kids too, so they were all there, and it was a whole bunch of people there. And I woke up one night like 3 in the morning because I had to piss. And I'm standing there and I'm looking up at the sky, and the sky in Northern California at nighttime, especially on a no moon sky, on a no moon night, is just so much star. It's stars like you can't imagine if you've never seen it. It's just so fucking incredible. Well, I'm looking, and one star is going like this. And it's basically staying like within the parameters of a square. But it's going, it's going really, really fast. And I'm thinking like, I thought initially, man, that looks like a broken star, because my thought was like, if anything was in there, their brains would be being scrambled. Why would they be sitting there like going, well, it looked like if you were doing this with your mouse. And and so I'm thinking I must be fucked up. So I went and I woke everybody up. And I'm like, you guys got to see this. This is crazy. Everybody's mad at me, but they want to see it. So they all come out and everybody confirms that's fucking weird. What the hell's going on there? And, you know, a lot of old people, a lot of younger people, they all go right back to, okay, that's weird. Whatever. I'm going back to bed. A couple of people stayed up and watched for a little bit, but everybody ends up going back to bed. It's like 3 in the morning. Not me. I get out my bowl. I get out a lawn chair. And I just sit there and I watch. And for the next few hours, I watch as the rest of the stars go through their motion. They pass. But this one star is still staying within the same square. And it's just going nuts. It's doing the same crazy shit. Well, once there's that time in the morning, just before the sun comes up, where it's like blue everywhere. It's not black outside anymore. It's like a weird blue. You can see everything, but it's still dark, but it's like, you know, the sun isn't up yet, so it's weird. It's a weird like 15-20 minute time. During that window, I could clearly see the outline of the square. And the whole square was like a shade darker than everything around it. And the thing was still moving, but I remember thinking it looks like a broken panel. Like you know, like it's like a big dome with multiple panels up there, and it looked like this. It's like that's what it looks like, except one of the panels was broken. And it wasn't functioning properly, and one of the stars wasn't functioning properly, and the panel color was off. And it stayed a shade darker than everything else around it for that full 15, 20, 30 minutes, whatever. But it got bright, and then eventually everything just sort of faded into the blue sky. And the thing for me was that, you know, I couldn't just tell people I saw aliens because I didn't feel like I saw aliens. And I absolutely didn't think the earth was flat, something that, you know, the people that wrote the Bible thought, oh, I'm not stupid like the people that wrote the Bible. So I had no concept of a flat earth, of a dome, of anything like that. I fully believed in space. You know, when they were talking about, you know, maybe somebody going to Mars and starting a colony there, a one-way trip, I remember thinking, like, would I be willing to leave my wife and kids behind to go do that? And yes, because, you know, they would be super proud of their dad, and I'm sure they'd be taken care of. And would I sign up for that? Yeah, I think I would. Like, I believed it. I used to love watching space documentaries and you know, anything that had to do with space. I always watched that shit. I always had questions, but I would just override those questions because I wanted to believe it. I didn't want Christianity to have that leg up. Like, you would think Christians would be all over the flat earth shape argument. They'd be like, look, the Bibles, we told you the Bible, blah, but they don't. They're stupid. But I put that whole story away because I couldn't talk about it with anybody. What do I fucking say? It looked like a broken star. It looked like a broken panel. And then I got surgery on my arm, and I was all fucked up on painkillers. And it was like midnight here, and I was all juiced and awake from the painkiller. So, and arrogantly stupid, confident, because that's what happens when I get all painkillered out. I'm like, oh, I'm smarter than everybody. You know? I kind of become a dick. So this was 2014 or 15 something. And I'm like, you know what? I'm so sick of all this flat earth shit. I'm smart enough to debunk it. Let me see what they have. And the first thing I saw, I wish I would have done 200 proofs the earth is not a spinning ball, but I had somehow already told myself that Eric Dubé was a fraud. So I don't know why, but for some reason I thought that way. So I guess I stumbled across Under the Dome by Sergeant Mark Sargent, and I watched it. It was a compilation on YouTube. It was all of the parts were put together, and I watched the whole thing start to finish. And it was like 2.5 hours long. And at the end of each episode, he would put his phone number up and he would encourage people to call him. So by the time I got done watching, it was like, you know, 2 in the morning here or something. But I noticed that his number was a 707 or a 757 number. So I figured that was California. So I thought, fuck it. If he's awake, he's awake. And if he's not, he won't answer. His phone will be off. He won't care. Whatever. You don't put your phone number on there if you don't want people calling you. So I called him. And he answered. And we actually had a pretty good conversation. And he's like, and I said, do a lot of people call you? And he said, no, you'd be surprised. I thought a lot more people would, but they usually don't. And for some reason, that story just popped in my head. And I was like, oh, hey, let me tell you this story real quick. And I told it to him. And when I was done, at the same time, it dawned on me, right at the same time he said, you saw the dome. And I said, I saw the dome. Like it was a revolutionary thing for me, like a holy shit moment. And I was like, yeah, that's the only way I could explain it. And still the only way I can explain it. I can't tell me I didn't see it. Can't tell me I didn't wake a whole bunch of squares up and they didn't see it. I told my mother and I heard her talking to my family. She was terrified because our upstairs neighbor was saying aliens were talking to him. Have you heard of a V2K? By the way, William, it's not my name, set up super chat. I would like to have something. I'm good. I don't need to have anything. If you understood exactly how much interference I receive, you would understand why I don't put myself in that position. But see, this whole thing, the aliens thing, the CIA has already come out and said that they created the alien narrative. They created the whole alien narrative to cover up for our own technology and everything we were doing. And from what I believe, they also use it to cover up for the ships used to, like I say, for the other aspects of the show. But 90 some percent of the alien sightings are actual military ship. All the alien sightings that talk about basically submarine tubes, those are probably just airships. We had airships early 1900s, late 1800s. Who knows how far back they go? Airships. We were flying in airships long before we had airplanes, but it's like it's a forgotten technology, and people act like you're a fucking conspiracy theorist for talking about something that absolutely existed. If you're watching, don't forget to like, share, and sub. It really does help. They've censored the shit out of me today, so I really need your guys' help to get past it. Take 2 seconds and share this on Facebook or whatever. Tell people to come tell me what I'm wrong about. Sorry, guys. I saw drones in here. What's up, G? I'm gonna make spaghetti. So you know what I need. Mm-hmm. And mushrooms. Grab me the other kind of bread, please. They do, and you could check it. Take 2 seconds. Appreciate it. Thank you. Bye. You know, I just aliens and shit. Like to me, Aliens are just another distraction. And at the end of the day, if you want to know the truth about aliens, you have to help us overthrow the Jews that control the narrative. We have to stop the genocide happening right now. Until we stop the genocide that's happening right now, it really it doesn't matter. And the thing is, by stopping the genocide and standing up to the Israelis and the Jews that are committing this genocide, and if we overthrow them, we then get access to all the answers that we're scared of, or all the answers that we're kept from. All this bullshit, whether it's the, you know, the aliens or it's the, Hollywood pedophiles or the Trump Kamala bullshit, whatever. All of it's bullshit. Hollywood, all of it. It's all Jew bullshit. Religious shit, it's all Jew bullshit. And we need to override this and be the better society we should be. We could be. They just don't let us. They just don't let us. Like tomato. Anyway. I guess I'm done. Because I'm sick of being censored. And I've been doing this for far too long already. So, if you want more, go watch old videos or go get your free download. www.the-bilderberg, bilderberg-group.com. It's free. All we ask is that you share it with someone. You say, hey, check this out. I just downloaded it. It was free. All they ask is that if you download it, you share it with someone. They'll ask you how much you want to pay. You put 0, and then you get it for free. So I'm going to put the link in the description, along with a link to one of our videos on Facebook, so you can find us on Facebook. And I need your help. So help, share, do what we have to do to show this fucking crazy Jew system that we will no longer be their slaves. Have a great day, guys. Pedophiles, kill yourself.